before we begin, I would just like to introduce yourself to what we are doing today. So you are the third awareness interview on our Removing Our Invisibility Cloaks page. And that is where we can educate the world about our conditions. So hopefully they know a little bit more about our illnesses and what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So the ones that we are talking about are invisible ones, so ones that they can't see, as we do get a lot of judgment and discrimination because of this. So hopefully through this education, it can one day stop that discrimination. Fingers crossed, we can always try. That's all we can do. So that is what we're doing today, and that's what I've got you on. I have got my sash behind me just because it is sticking to me. So because it's so hot, I was like, I'll just have it propped up behind me. But I'll introduce you first then. So could you just introduce yourself to the ones that are going to watch your video, please?
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Jasmine Pearce and I'm also currently Miss Teen Global Darling Norfolk.
Perfect. And can you just tell me a little bit about yourself in regards to work, school, anything like that?
Yeah. So I'm currently a Year 12 student at Paston College, taking combined English, law and history.
Oh, wow. What type of career do you want to go into then?
I'm leaning more towards journalism at this point, because I really like the idea of educating and helping people to understand the world around them, and I think that's a really great way of doing it.
Is there any certain topics that you like to write about?
So I'm leaning more towards marine conservation journalism to help people understand what happens under our oceans and seas.
Oh, wow. I can't even speak now. I get really mesmerised by what's actually underneath our feet and in the sea. And like the octopus is just, it baffles me. They're so clever. I've watched loads of documentaries on them. I just get really mesmerised.
Brilliant. I love marine life. I think they're so clever with how they manage to interact with each other underwater and how they live underwater. I know for them it's like it's their daily life. For me it's like, wow.
If only we could be a mermaid and have both.
Yes, please.
Just please.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So we'll talk a little bit about your pageantry as well, because you have got your sash on. So how long have you been competing in pageants for?
I've only been competing just over a year this summer. I started last year with a more local charity pageant and absolutely fell in love with the whole ethos behind it and how friendly all the girls were. I do admit I did go in with the common misconceptions people have about pageantry, but I was very, very pleasantly surprised when I walked in the door that it was so far different than what people read about in news articles. Like there is no sabotaging each other or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no ripping dresses or anything like that.
Breaking the heels.
All supporting each other. Instead, we're helping people get into their dresses.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is completely different to what people have perceptions of. But it's good that you actually got yourself out there to try it. A lot of people don't even try to change their mindset on it.
They just keep going with what society tells them.
Yes, they do. But hopefully we can change that one day. You never know.
Trust.
So what system are you competing in currently?
Miss Global Darling. The finals are fortunately virtually now with everything going on.
But they're still going ahead, which is good.
They are. I'm absolutely thrilled that it's still going to go ahead this year.
What date's that?
The 5th of September when we're having our interviews, and then later on in the day the results are going to be announced.
So do you have to send in your videos beforehand then?
Yeah.
Have you sent yours in yet?
I have. That was this morning's job. So my fate's in the hands of the pageant gods.
What rounds are there?
We had opening that it wasn't judged, evening, fashion wear and sportswear.
Oh, so you had all three? Oh, I like that.
Love a sportswear round. I love the idea of promoting body positivity. Thank you.
Did you wear a bikini?
No, I went for kind of a sports bra and a skirt combination.
It's always a good one to go with. You can bring out personality with that as well.
Absolutely. So I really, really enjoyed that. A lot more than I thought I would. It was my first time kind of doing more of a sporty round and getting myself out there a bit more. But I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I look forward to watching it and hopefully
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
So we will go on now to the actual interview part about your illnesses. So we obviously know that you do pageants, as even though you have invisible illnesses and disabilities. So what ones do you have?
Yeah, I suffer with anxiety and I'm also partially sighted, so I'm blind in my left eye.
Oh, wow. And how long is that? So was that from birth, or have you got it gradually in your life?
In 2005, I was diagnosed with pneumococcal meningitis. And after a couple of scans, the doctors realised that I had a tumour growing behind my eye. And unfortunately, because of where it was, they had no way of operating it apart from going in, I think, through the back of my head, which then could have had more repercussions than just letting the tumour eat on my optic nerve, I think it was.
The tumour's still there, but it's just to prevent the other issues that could happen if they were to operate.
Yeah, I think the tumour's pretty much gone now. I think it was feeding off my optic nerve, and then when it ended up crushing my optic nerve, I think it just kind of stopped being as much of an issue.
So, but that was really life-changing to go through that change in your life.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky in a sense that it happened when I was so young, because I've had so many years to get used to relying solely on one eye.
How old were you when it actually happened?
I think I was about 3.
So you would have been all going through your development as well, yeah?
Lots of memories of me learn how to cope. Yeah, it did impact my social skills quite a lot because of the amount of time I did spend in hospital. I kind of missed those key development stages with nursery and the first couple of years of like key stage 1 and things, and really developing social skills, which I think has impacted the anxiety.
Do you think it's had a knock-on effect?
Yeah, definitely.
You've pulled through though. You sound really positive about it.
Thank you. I think I'm trying to use it as much of a positive way as I can to help other people learn more about it and have a bit more of an understanding that you can't see it, but it's still there. So just have that bit more of a respect for people, but so don't judge them until you know their full backstory and how they've gone through and why they've gone through what they have, which possibly why they act how they do now.
A lot of people just assume that when you're blind, it's both eyes, so you can't do anything, whereas you can go blind in one eye. I recently spoke to Adrienne as well, and she had gone blind in one eye or partially sighted, and it obviously has an effect on everything around you because both eyes would normally work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does that impact you with your daily life?
Yeah. One of my kind of most standout memories of it is being in school and making like these multicolored glasses with a different color in each lens. And our DT teacher was talking about how it's really cool when you put them on, the colors merge. And everyone else is going, oh, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, I'm not saying anything, I'm just seeing the one color. And it was that moment that really hit me as like, oh, that was the first time I felt different to other people, and that I couldn't do what other people could do and have the same experiences growing up.
That must have been so hard. I can't even imagine. I think that's one of the senses that we rely on most.
Yeah, it definitely impacted me in the way of school quite a bit, and feeling very disorientated in new environments and taking longer to understand where I am and respond to people like walking past me. One of the biggest issues I'm going through at the moment is trying to find a job. So most jobs for people my age are in cafes or restaurants, but me with a tray of hot food in a constantly moving environment is a really bad combination.
But oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get that over you. It's good that you can laugh about it though.
Yeah, it's just a napkin.
Hopefully, maybe even behind the bar or even on the till or something, like at least, I know you're not walking around, but you've still got a way of getting work while you're studying, because I guess that's hard that you've got finances to cover while you're going for your studies.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a tricky balance. You don't really realise how hard it's going to be until you're there. Like, people talk about it, but you think, oh, it's not that bad. And then you start college and it's, oh, no, it's that bad.
How many more years have you got?
Just the one. I'm going into my last year in September.
So very soon then.
Yeah, it's a hectic year. Lots of revision and mock exams.
It will be worth it though.
Hopefully. I need those grades.
So you mentioned that your eyesight has an impact on your anxiety just because of your development. So obviously going to hospital appointments, trying to get the eye issue sorted. What else do you think's impacted your anxiety?
I think being disorientated has something that's really impacted my anxiety. Joining schools for the first time and having all these people walking around me and talking at me and not really having a proper sense of where I am and who's around me. It takes me quite a few weeks to be completely comfortable with my environment, and especially in a school that is lots of hustle and bustle. I find it quite easy to get disorientated, and a lot of people decided that I was a nice bullying target through high school. So that also heightens my anxiety, which then heightens the feeling of being disorientated. So it was just quite a knock-on domino effect.
Yeah, I think they like to pick on the people that are different just because it makes them feel better in themselves.
Yeah, I think because they don't understand and they don't like what they don't understand.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it sounds like you're very positive about it now because you're smiling. Yeah. I think it makes us a stronger person getting through that bullying stage in our lives.
Absolutely. I think having those experiences is something that's driven me towards pageantry as well, because it's a brilliant platform for me to be able to help other people who are going through similar experiences, and also to help speak out. A lot of people try to help the victims as well, which is brilliant. I really want to help people who are bullied. But I also think it's important to help bullies understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's so many reasons behind it that people also don't think about.
Yeah, a lot of it is children. So children don't understand what their words mean. They don't understand what effect they have because they haven't been educated on that. I don't know whether it's to do with their parents or just the lack of the discussion in schools. It's very hard to get a child to understand how words can actually impact a person.
Absolutely. I think schools, or most schools that I've had experiences with, like to be able to say, we have zero bullying. And because they've said that, they don't then feel they can address the bullying going on inside schools because they need to keep up this perfect exterior view. Whereas I think it's more important to say, yes, all schools have it. But this is what we're doing to combat it.
I think I completely agree. With me, when I was bullied, I think, well, I tried not to tell schools, obviously, because you get called a grass bag. That was one of the things I was afraid to go and tell teachers. But if it was ever mentioned, or I saw someone that had got bullied and it was mentioned, they only got suspended. I don't think there was a big conversation about what they were doing. It was like, oh, you're just off school for a few days. So they saw that as a positive because they didn't have to go to school.
Absolutely. Yeah, but they don't really, they get the punishment, but not the reasoning behind it or the understanding.
Yeah. And they don't see it as a punishment either because they're off school.
I know. A couple of days free time, you know.
This must be a good thing. It is hard though for schools, so because they've obviously got millions of kids.
Yeah. I get some time off school, less work. Yeah.
So I think the point that we're asking when you got diagnosed with your anxiety.
Yeah. So I've struggled a lot with bullying for quite a few years, which impacted my kind of self-confidence. And we always thought that it's something I could possibly have. And in year 11, it kind of really hit me. I couldn't go into school, sit in a classroom. I struggled to talk to teachers that I liked before summer. And that's when we decided to go to the doctors, who said that I did have anxiety. And they put me on the waiting list to speak to someone. But unfortunately, the waiting list was so long that by the time I left high school, I still hadn't seen them. So I managed to kind of get it under control myself, which was very, very trial and error with what worked for me. I think it was something that I struggled with quite a lot for a good chunk of the final school year. And even though I continued to struggle with it, I was starting to be able to sit in a classroom for a bit longer. I think what helped with me is little goals. So I got into a classroom for 5 minutes, and then the next day I felt, well, I did 5 minutes yesterday, I have to do another 5 minutes. I can't then leave earlier. And try to just take those little baby steps to being able to be reintegrated into more of a school environment without having a panic attack at the door.
That's amazing that you did it yourself without any support from
from
hospitals or doctors. It is a long waiting list, and it's bad that it's that long, but the NHS obviously has so much lack of funding. But I'm glad that you managed to obviously get yourself out of that bad zone, because it takes a lot out of you to do that.
Yeah, I felt one of the most prominent emotions that I remember feeling is absolutely exhausted. It's like having a panic attack at the beginning nearly every day. By the end of the week, my weekend that I wanted to enjoy, I struggled to, because I was just so mentally drained and exhausted.
So how long did that affect you for at school? So what year did it start in, did you say?
It became a lot more prominent in year 11.
The final year.
The year that you kind of need to be more switched on and in your classes to get those key pieces of information and revision tips.
Sometimes stress can actually cause the anxiety, or even, I suppose, make it more prominent. So that might have been why it impacted you at that time, because you were so stressed about getting the grades you wanted.
Yeah.
But did you come away with the grades that you were happy with?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't expecting the grades that I ended up having at all. I'm just happy because I tried to get into my head that it's a stepping stone, just get what I need to go to college, and then bit of a clean slate there, and be able to start again with fresh courses, fresh peers.
Yeah, you can only think positive about it. I think if you think negative, then you're going to pull your results down even more.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's taking it baby steps. If you give yourself one leap, you're going to come back so many steps again. So it is definitely baby steps to get over it.
Absolutely.
And how's your anxiety now? Is it as bad?
It's definitely not as prominent as it was. I found that with the whole lockdown situation, I've definitely been getting more stressed with college, which then heightened it a bit more. But thankfully, nowhere near as bad as it was at this time last year. So I'm definitely being able to see the signs of it a lot quicker, and then being able to try and get a remedy for myself before it spirals a lot faster into a panic attack.
That's good that you know your signs, and you know also what helps you, because a lot of people for years don't actually know how to stop their triggers.
Absolutely.
So it's good that you know what triggers you off, and you can stop the panic attacks from happening, because basically once they happen, it's hard to calm them down. So I think that's really good that you do that.
Thank you.
Have you ever taken any medication for it?
I've tried to keep off any prescribed medication. I take the rescue pastels, which is more of a herbal than a pharmaceutical remedy for it. And I find they help me. I'm not sure if there's anything in them that actually calms me down, but the focus of chewing on something and takes my mind off it a bit more.
Yeah. And I think also knowing you're taking something, it can tell your mind that you are actually treating yourself.
Yeah.
Even if there's nothing in it.
Yeah, it's that more psychological remedy rather than medicinal.
Well, I'm glad that you are now a lot better than you were.
Thank
Unfortunately,
you.
I know lockdown hasn't helped anyone with mental health.
No.
You still seem really positive, which is really good.
Thank you.
Are you now getting out a little bit more?
Yeah, I've managed to get a bit more freedom, slowly trying to get myself back into people environments again. I found that's definitely heightened the anxiety with the feeling of disorientated. No.
I can never say the word either, don't worry.
No, but you know what I mean.
I know what you
Having
mean.
that feeling has definitely heightened the anxiety side of it a bit more, but just slowly getting out and being around people ish, kind of 2 meters away, but
Yeah,
has definitely
still
helped with near them.
Yeah. It's just a very strange environment at the minute, but hopefully I'm hoping it will be back to normal next year.
I hope so.
I really want Christmas to be normal. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, the tree's going up earlier this year. I need that festive feeling a bit sooner.
When do you normally put yours up?
Normally on the first weekend of December, but I am persuading the parents to maybe do it more November.
Make
those
the most of
decorations
it,
up.
you know.
Yeah.
We've lost March onwards, so
Yeah, may as well do everything else early.
yeah. So is there any other illnesses or disabilities that you deal with on a day-to-day basis?
I also suffer with an immune deficiency, which was the cause of my meningitis and septic arthritis. And it's what's made me a shielder during lockdown, because of the not necessarily the worry of me getting corona, because my immune deficiency is with bacteria, but it's the problem of the possibility of getting a lung infection if I were to contract it.
And I think because you've been so unwell previously with your meningitis, then you know how your body can be impacted by something like that. So I think you have done the right thing, because your life's important. So if you can stop that from happening, even if it's months, you may get years more out of your life going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all for a bigger goal.
Yeah, it is. Big goal of just living your life until you're in your old age pension time.
Absolutely. Old with the nice shawl.
Nice wrinkles, lots of animals maybe. I don't know if you're a cat or dog person.
Love my dogs, and wrinkles just mean you've smiled and laughed more.
Yeah. But it just means that we can enjoy ourselves soon, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And what's your autoimmune condition called?
IRAK4. So it's one of the more rarer autoimmune deficiencies. I have quite frequent consultations with my immunologist, mainly because she's also not 100% on it. They're still very much in the research stages of the illness. So I know one of her main concerns was about university, with the worries of getting the uni meningitis, is what I call it, when there's quite a big meningitis boom of the viral meningitis, when everyone kind of moves in together. So her main concern was if I boarded, but luckily I'm definitely staying at home. I've picked a university that's in driving distance to me, so I don't have to dorm with anyone.
Yeah, you don't want that added worry of your health, because obviously not anxiety anyway, that's just gonna heighten things. So yeah, you've done the right thing there as well.
Thank you.
What university do you want to go to?
The University of East Anglia.
And do you know what you're studying? I know it's journalism, but is there a specific one?
I'm hoping to do broadcast and multimedia journalism.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed you get there soon. Honestly, I bet it will feel like it will fly by once Corona's out the way. It will
Yeah, it'll
just,
probably go really
oh God.
quickly. Months and months of dragging, and then everything just
Yeah.
hits you at once.
It's like, oh, we're here already.
Yeah, oh, exams, brilliant.
You'll do amazing though. I think university is
Thank
such a
you.
good, it's a good atmosphere as well. So you hopefully you'll meet new friends as you obviously struggle with social anxiety.
Yes,
I think getting in with other people is a good thing to have in life.
definitely. Kind of, especially with people who are that bit more mature with the mindset as well of having a more understanding of people with invisible illnesses and disabilities.
Yeah, definitely. So how long did your diagnosis take of your rare disease?
It took a good few years. I think when I went from meningitis to septic arthritis, they then started to think, ooh, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Having those quite quickly. And then with the tumour behind my eye that did stem from the meningitis, but wasn't necessarily a very common thing, they kind of thought there's got to be something more to it. It's not normal for someone to have all of these in such quick succession and there not be a root cause for why.
So, yeah, so your body was attacking itself and causing all these added issues that you really did not want.
Definitely not.
But you fought through it, which is positive. You sound like a strong person. You look like a strong person. Do you have to take any medication for it?
Yeah, I'm on penicillin, which I have to take twice daily just to give my immune system that bit of an added bubble to try and stop it letting in bacteria that I would rather not have in my body.
So I'm guessing you have to be really careful when you go out to just places anyway in general.
Yeah, it's kind of the having to have more of an idea of if someone coughs or sneezes,
It's like,
anywhere that bacteria could fester, trying to keep away. Given me a support system and family that I didn't realise I could have outside of my biological family. Going from, I think I ended up in 3 different high schools and struggling to make friends with anyone and getting quite badly bullied in all 3 of them, to then go into an environment where they didn't care if I had anxiety, they didn't care if I was half blind, they couldn't care less if I had immune deficiency, they just wanted to know who I was.
Yeah.
They didn't care about any of the labels that came attached with it. They just want to know about you as a person, which has helped me make so many friends, especially with the system that I'm in. It's quite a small one. So I'm able to talk to a lot more people and kind of get that more of a sense of a big family with people who just want to build you up rather than tear you down.
Yeah, it's very positive in people with mental health, and I'm glad that you found it.
Thank you, me too.
What will we do without pageantry, eh? Just get
I don't
us
want to
back
think about that. Lockdown better end soon.
And what positive advice would you give to people, or is there a quote that you use on a daily basis?
One of my favourite quotes, right, I've got to get this in the right order now. Failure is not fatal, success is not final, it's the courage to continue that counts. It's from Winston Churchill, and it's one of my most inspiring quotes because it's very much, if you fail, it's fine. If you succeed, don't quit after one success, keep going. And all that matters is that you have the courage to keep going and to keep trying and keep getting back up again. One of the most metaphorical images that sticks in my mind with that is someone falling on a pageant stage, but they never stay down and they never walk off, they get back up again. And just having that mentality of you can keep getting knocked down, but as long as you keep getting back up again, that's what people are going to remember you for, and that's what's important to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think also like the pageant competition, if you don't place or if you get first runner up and you don't win, it's not about winning that crown. I know we all want to win a title and we all want to win a crown, but that's an added bonus to
Absolutely.
us. It's the journey. So
yeah,
if we go back and fight even harder, then that definitely connects with that quote.
Absolutely. Completely agree with that.
I do like that quote. I've never heard it before, although I am a fan of Churchill, so I don't know why I haven't heard it before. It's not used that often.
It is one of his lesser known ones. I'm a bit like that with books. I always go for the lesser known authors.
I like that though, because you learn something new.
Absolutely.
So I've learned something new today.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will be researching up your condition as well, because it's very rare and I've not heard of that one either.
Oh, thank you. Definitely,
I
the
do
more
like
people
learning.
realise it, the better.
Yeah,
So
I
do
think
I.
so.
I think it's really
Rare,
brilliant.
rare conditions are hard to understand for doctors, let alone well, not normal, but people that aren't in that
Yeah.
profession.
Absolutely. If doctors find it hard to understand, helping others to understand it as well is that much more of a hurdle.
Yeah, definitely. But you do well, you do really well. You've explained it well to me. I understand it a little bit, but I'm going to Google it. Love a bit of Google searching.
Oh, absolutely. It's my lifeline.
Yeah. So is there any advice that you'll give to people dealing with anxiety and eye health, and also the condition that you've got at the minute, to stay away from bacteria?
Absolutely. I think it's remember who you are as a person and don't let it define you. I know with my anxiety, I ended up being the girl with anxiety. You know, people didn't know me, and the same with my eye and my condition. I think making sure that you still have your personality and just keep reminding yourself of who you are and why you love yourself, rather than the reasons that people might use to tear you down.
Yeah, and definitely don't let it take over you, because it is hard to accept at first. Like, probably losing your sight would have been hard for you to accept at first, but then you've got to look to overcome it, because if you drag yourself down throughout your life, you're not going to get anywhere.
Absolutely not.
So I can't believe what you've done from like the age of 3, going through that tumour operation, losing your sight, having bacterial meningitis. It's just amazing. You are inspiring. So just continue being you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot.
Just carry on being you and don't worry about what others think of you.
Thank you. It's definitely really, really lovely to hear.
I think it's hard when you've got anxiety as well, and when social anxiety. So I bet you think you walk in a room and, well, this is what I do anyway, I just assume that they don't like me, or
I do that a lot.
Or if they don't like something on Facebook or reply to a comment, I go, does that person not like me? Have I done something wrong? But that's just how our head likes to play with us.
Absolutely. I always have that. Before I post anything on social media, I go through this 5 to 10 minute of, should I post this? Do I look okay? Are people going to pick on me because of it? Is there something wrong with the photo? And in the end, I just have to think, no, you like it. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
And
it's all
just
that
try to
matters.
really convince myself that.
Yeah, being happy in yourself is all that matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Absolutely.
Well, I've actually enjoyed spending my time with you today, even though we did get cut off halfway. But
I've enjoyed it too.
them together. They'll just be like, the background's changed. What's going on there?
5 minutes second. Oh, new rooms.
Yeah. But I do really want to thank